Come on in. We are live right here on the barbershop. Welcome on in. It's your boy G Bush. We back at it with another episode. We gonna get to this thing today. I'm gonna throw this out here. We talk about everybody that got to prove something this year. We got to talk about everybody that got to work and earn stuff this year. We've been talking about this for a very long time. But are we making Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry work on what they need to be working on? Are we giving them a pass? Because it's starting to look like people is under some assumption that they don't got nothing to prove this year. And that's patently false. While we're looking at this roster, while we're looking at these players, while we're looking at these rookies, we need to be talking about what is these guys proving? Because we need to figure out if they are where they are supposed to be. And I'm going to show you some information. I had to bring back the receipts. I had to bring the receipts. You should be worried about your jobs and what you're doing and stop all this evaluating, because we need to evaluate, do we have the right people evaluating and making the right decisions for the Cleveland Browns? We'll come back and talk about it right here on this episode of The Barbershop.
Quality, service, atmosphere. You're next in the chair. Feel at home in the barbershop. G. Bush offers a fresh cut on sports. The barbershop isn't just grooming for guys. It's culture. It's lifestyle. It's sports. And it's now the barbershop is giving the sports scene a sheer shave and shine. Join the makeover now. Follow Garrett Bush at GBush91 on Twitter.
Welcome on into the barbershop. What a joyous day. What a joyous day it is. It's a little rainy here, but it's all right. G Bush is rocking with you. If you are on Twitter, we shout you out. Shout out to Twitter. If you're on Facebook, shout out to Facebook. Shout out to where you coming out from. If you're on the barbershop watching, we appreciate that. And if you're on the UCSS website, we appreciate that as well. We coming to you live from the palatial estates of the barbershop home. I'm G Bush, and we got a great show planned for you today. Listen, I just threw it out there earlier. Look, people always say, I love this. We come out swinging immediately. People always say, G Bush, I've been accused of race baiting. You talk about race too much. Well, listen, man. Hey, look, this should prove to you today that I'm an equal opportunity fella. Anybody can get it. And right now, I've been on Andrew Berry for a long period of time. I've been talking about his performance for a minute. I was the one who said Joe Woods, the former defensive coordinator, had to go for 2.5 years. They just happen to be brothers. I appreciate the brothers. I like to see black people and get an opportunity to do what they can as general managers and coaches at the highest levels, CEOs and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm married to the facts. And what I believe to see is that they have been given this mythical pass that people are quite upset with me about. Someone viral on the other day, somebody took a piece of what I said on UCSS, and I came out and said, listen, Kevin Stefanski ain't developed nobody. The thought process that the Cleveland Browns have some sort of omniscient ability to develop two quarterbacks at one time when they ain't developed one is wild thoughts to me. Shout out to Rihanna. It's crazy work. Like, so we'll talk about that a little bit too. We'll talk about that a little bit as well coming up. This thought process that, hey, the Cleveland Browns are going to be developing. I'm like, come on, bro. Who have you developed? Where's this development at? We'll dive into that coming up later. I had to be funny about this. So I forget who did this on Twitter. Somebody had a situation on Twitter where they was talking about the craziest speeding tickets in Cleveland history. So we got some from the Cavs, the Guardians, and the Browns. We'll talk about that a little bit. Says people, I'm still getting people that's just losing their mind. People just losing their undershirts, just losing their mind over these. They thought it was going to stick. I'm sorry. You guys thought that was going to stick, didn't you? You thought people was just going to come out and say, you know what? I've disavowed all Shador Sanders conversation. I've disavowed, you know what? I've come to think about it. Just think about it, G. Bush. We can't do this anymore. I understand it. I followed him his whole career and his life, and I was with him. I was with him until these two tickets that changed everything for me. I saw the light. I saw it. We have to have an intervention, and we have to decide. Sometimes as a man, you got to take a stand for what's right. And these two tickets to me have shaken me to my foundation. Yeah. Oh, that's why they don't like you like that, bro. You better stop doing that, bro. Listen, they don't like you doing that, man. Come on, man. We'll get into that too. Also, we brought back some crazy tweets. This is the thing that I like to do, man. When people say things, I like to give them their audience. Sometimes because it's kind of hard. They may be getting on Twitter. Some people say stuff against me, and I'll be like, listen, man. Now, you did all that work, and you didn't get no likes on that tweet. That means nobody was agreeing with you. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you some life. I'm going to come up with the crazy tweets. We'll talk about that and get to that too. So we got some tweets talking about Kevin Stefanski, got some tweets talking about some different things. And as always, before we start the show, I've always said this. I'm a guy in the industry. Y'all should like me, because the rest of these people they're not gonna entertain you. They're not gonna engage with you. They're gonna sit there, let them comments sit there and not say nothing back. People say, G. Bush, why you always talking to you? Why would you talk to them people? Why you even give them? I said, listen, I got time. I'm here on a Saturday. I ain't on no panel. I can talk my stuff and free and move around and just how I want to. We got time. Y'all should love me because I actually tell you, hey, if you got a problem with what I'm saying, put it in the chat. We can have a conversation. But the only thing I don't like is this, man. You wasting my energy if you're just going to say, oh, he's a clown. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Yes, I am a clown. I'm Big Circus. Put some respect on my name. Big Circus is what it is. So if you come up and you say, I need G. Bush is a clown, he don't know this, that, and the third, you got to give me a thesis statement, a point. Why don't you back up what you can say? When I come to you and present my arguments, I have receipts, don't I? When I audit people, I come with the receipts. You can't give me a formal count. At least formulate your own opinion, have something to support it. And anybody can have a solid conversation. But just don't say I'm a clown, because you're wasting everybody's time. At least get your money off. Get your money off. All right, here we go. Make sure my microphone's tight, ready to go. Let's start with this. I got a little what's the name here? And we'll set this thing up by Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski. What sparked my mind on this was I was sitting there and I was evaluating and looking. And I was going over a lot of different stuff. And obviously the biggest news in the game is the quarterback competition. And the biggest news is, these guys earning reps, these guys earning this, these guys earning that. And as media members, as fans, we always have a great way of saying we need to be earning stuff. These players need to earn this. They need to earn reps. They need to earn this. They need to. And I just keep thinking, what I usually have is a problem in society where there's a hierarchy effect, where if you're on the bottom level, people believe that you intrinsically should be there. That when you're a middle-level management or mid-level associates, they tell you to shut up and just don't worry about it. That's just the way the world is. But once you get up to the higher levels, where they make more money, they get more, they have more responsibilities. They have a bigger say-so in who plays, who doesn't play, how much the organization makes, how much the organization doesn't make. When you get up to the ladders, it's all of a sudden we start to see that when we get to the tippy top level of the organization, all of a sudden, instead of much is given, much is required, much is given, much is earned, it becomes, well, that's just the way it is. Well, we had a bad quarter because it was this. Well, listen, it wasn't his fault He didn't really know nobody was running like the CEOs. Remember the CEOs used to go to these in front of these boards, right? And back in the day when you had so many CEOs or the big companies and they were getting bailed out, the big banks was getting bailed out, the government was giving them all this money to bail them out, and they turned around and still gave them bonuses. How you get a bonus and taxpayers had to bail you out? How you get a bonus? Neither here nor there. But guess what? Remember they was going in and they was going in front of Congress, going in front of these committees. I had no idea we were being leveraged like this. I had no idea we were running a Ponzi scheme. I had no idea that the CFO was cooking the accounting books. He's the CFO. Why would I know? Because you're the chief executive officer. You're supposed to know everything that's going on, right? But it seems to me that we have more responsibilities and we have more, we have more expectations for rookie quarterbacks. We have more expectations for third string guys or backups. But when we get to the top of the level, we don't have the gumption and to call out the things that can make or break a team. Because in reality of the situation, and I like to say, I'm a Browns fan. I've been watching and living this forever. The reality of the situation is the Cleveland Browns have not won a division championship, a division. Think about it. We're not talking about Super Bowl. We're not talking about AFC. We're not talking about championships. We're talking about the Cleveland Browns have not won a division title since 1989. If I could do the quick math, that's almost 40 years that you ain't won the division. And the league is set up for parity. The league is set up that every single year, they're going to give you some sort of hope. They're going to give you some sort of energy to say, my team has a shot this year. There's a team that goes from worst to first every single year. Look at the I just did this earlier. Look at the Washington Commanders. The Washington Commanders picked high last year in the draft. I believe number 2. They get Jaden Daniels, and all of a sudden they off and running. But people will tell you, oh, Jaden Daniels was special. Until I gave you the receipts and showed you how many draft analysts said that he wasn't good. How many draft people, how many people said, oh, no, he's not a generational type player. I showed you time after time. So they'll give them excuses. Well, what's the Browns' excuse? The game is set up for you to ball. The game is set up for you to do what you need to do. But we haven't. One of the reasons we haven't, not drafting well enough, and now that free agency has come around, we've now had an opportunity to see what your free agents do as well. Andrew Berry. We were talking about this on UCSS and nasty work. Nasty work from you. The free agents ain't hitting. We already know what the draft picks are. We'll go back and talk about some of the draft picks, but let's take a look at these free agents here. This was on UCSS. Let me throw this up in here. Nasty work, bro. The nastiest work of all time. This is wild, man. I was just going back through them names. Andrew Sendejo. He was a meme in 2020. He was a meme. Get him out. He was a meme. These guys, think about this. We talk, look at this. Austin Hooper would catch 2-yard passes and fall down.
Wide open trip, fall down. He forgot how to run.
Adrian Claiborne, I don't think played 4 or 5 snaps. They paid Case Keenum $8 million, right? They paid him the highest money of all time.
Highest paid backup quarterback in the league.
And when Baker Mayfield needed to sit down for two games because his shoulder was falling off, they wouldn't put Case Keenum in the game and paid him $8 million. This is wild work. Jack Conklin missed a lot of years. Can we go to 2021? This is easy. We can just go right along. John Johnson, I thought he was the worst signing of all time until they got Juan Thornhill. Tack McKinley, no. Troy Hill, they got him and then traded him back where he came from in like a year. Malik Jackson, come on, man. Anthony Walker was the best move out of that move, but he was giving you 6 to 8 games and leadership in nice suits. That was it. 2022, let's keep it pushing. Jakeem Grant never played it down for us. Not one. He tore his ACL. Taven Bryant, they tried to start him at defensive tackle. I did one funny meme on the barbershop, and my mom said, you got to take that down. She said, you're ruthless. Listen, he was on bended knee. I had Boys the Men playing in the background because that's how often he was getting destroyed up front. Boyorquez, he's been pretty good.
Great sign. That's the second best signing of his tenure.
But anytime your punter is that good, you're telling me what your squad is. Chris Hubbard was unplayable at times. Josh Dobbs, they got him on the squad, traded him 6 times. I don't know if this is... keep going. 2023. I told everybody here, we need to be... Listen, I'm going to take shame on me for this. This is on me. The fact that we was amping up Dalvin Tomlinson.
Remember that?
The fact that we had Dalvin, the best free agent signing we have is under radar. He had 3 sacks all in one game against the Cardinals, and then that was it. He's a nose tackle. Juan Thornhill, we already know what that is. Obo Akaranko, here's what I can say about him. At least he was a tough SOB. He was really tough. He played with a torn pec or a torn shoulder, or whatever the case may be. But we didn't get the production. Mo Hurst, I liked him. He got hurt halfway through. Marquise Goodwin didn't really play for us either. He got injured. This was crazy. And what is it? Last year? Is this 2024? This one is. Zadarius Smith, they had to move him in the middle of the season. He was good about being in his gap.
He gave us great sound bites and the Pittsburgh win in the snow.
Highs and the lows and 900 yards he threw against the Denver Broncos. Deontay Foreman is a fullback, and they had this man returning kicks for him. Returning kicks. Naeem Hines, we ain't see him at all.
No, he's on a milk carton.
So that's all, 3 returners. Goodwin, Hines, and the other kid, Jakeem Grant.
Yeah.
Never, ever touched the field for you. And Quentin Jefferson was so bad that they just was like, listen, we can't play you in the middle of the season. This is the nastiest work I've ever seen. And by the way, when you combine this with the misses in these drafts, with the Jed Wills and the Perion Winfreys and the Tommy Togiais and the Siaki Ikas, this is what playbook do you have? You have nothing to stand on. And don't you come at me and say, G-Bush just wants to be super negative. You give me a comment and a rebuttal. You can't rebuttal this. As you can see, this is not rebuttable. This is not. Listen to the names. We haven't even talked about Anthony Schwartz at receiver, 3rd round pick. We haven't talked about these guys where these dudes not only didn't play, they never even stepped on the field. Some of them couldn't even get on the field, period. And here's your point. We've been, and this is tough to say, we've been bad for so long. We've been horrible for so long that anybody that comes along that gives you a little bit of attention, a little bit of a spark, a little bit of a half, oh, wow, look at that. Like it's one of them people, we all know somebody. You know somebody that be in these relationships, right? And they jump from bad relationship to bad relationship, and you be sitting there telling them, hey man, just go on a date or something, pump your brakes, bro. You don't got to marry. Nah, she it. Said, bro, you just met her. What are you talking about? She it. All right, when we go meet her. Yeah, she coming over to the cookout today. All right, we get the family together, come meet her, and you know what I'm saying? She get over there, in 5 minutes, she gets sleepy. I'm so tired. I'm giving away free game right here. Listen, if you have a significant other that every time you bring them to a function amongst your family, amongst your friends, amongst your closest confidants, and they get there and say any of the following words, I'm tired, I'm sleepy, when we ready to go, I'm bored, yawning, half closing their eyes, I don't even like the game. Bro, if you like this man, you better sit there and act like you like this game. You better be, listen, you better be like touchdown Browns. Yes, offside, yes, offside. You don't got to know nothing about the game. We'll be like, oh, bless her heart. She don't know nothing about no football, but she here for Terry. She comes, she be like, she better be, hey, hun. Hey, we gotta go. We're going to your aunt's house. I gotta get me a jersey. You be like, hey, we don't really wear jerseys like that. No, I need to get a jersey. She come in there, you go to Gabriel Brothers, Stephen and Bears, get you one of these old, come in here. They got the old Baker Mayfield 6. But it's the iron on, and it don't got no. It just say CLE in the front with a 6 on the back, and some random dog. It don't even be a Browns dog. It'd be like a Cocker Spaniel or something right there. You'd be like, where did you get that jersey from? Bless her heart, she here for Terry. Bless her heart. But that's the thing. You're supposed to be showing up and being ready to go. You don't be sleepy. You don't be tired. You don't be, I don't know what I'm going to do. No, you on your best behavior. Because you know why? You want to put your best foot forward, don't you? You want them to give you an opportunity, don't you? You want them to be like, you know what? She ain't even half bad. I like that. But if you come up in there looking around like, man, this is the first week. What's she going to be like in 6 months, a year? What are you talking about? She gonna get real comfortable on you then. Then she gonna be like, I ain't going to them events. I don't like the way they be looking at me anyway. Dudes do the same thing. Don't be mad. Dudes, man, I'm gonna just sit at the crib, man. Can you bring me a plate back to the crib? No! Stop bringing him a plate if he didn't show up to the functions. Now they mad at me. Now they mad at me. You're not getting a plate if you don't show up. It's Christmas. It's Thanksgiving. You can sit up there for an hour and I don't care what they tell you. And it's just like the Cleveland Browns. We've been so thirsty to get any sort of person that likes us, wants to date us, wants to be with us, wants to contract, that we will accept any sort of mediocre behavior because it's better than what we have. If that is the way you feel about life, it's better than what I had, you will never go anywhere in life. You got to always be willing to upgrade at any cost. That's if people ain't even getting it right. You got to be willing to say and speak on it and say, listen, this is not good enough. And you take a look at some of those names on that list. Those guys came here and gave you zero. Juan Thornhill came here and told you, I should be playing right now. What do you mean you should be playing right now? What do you mean you should be playing right now in the playoffs? You were on a team, sir, that went 3-14. We went 3-14. And you got the nerve to be running around and talking about I should be playing right now, talking about his old team, the Kansas City Chiefs. No, sir, the Kansas City Chiefs didn't sign you. They didn't want you back. You came here telling us that you was going to get it done. I like the energy, but you didn't. And for Andrew Berry and for all these other guys that we talk about consistently, and we talk about what they're done in their resumes and all the good stuff that they've done, the thing that I got the biggest problem with now is, as we sit here and talk about this quarterback competition and we talk about what it is that we're going through and how we're going to go about, first and foremost, I'm asking my question to you. What gives you the ability to say that you sitting here doing what you doing and you got a plan? You don't got no plan. You were here and you, the whole organization, let's keep it a buck. You used the best players that another regime drafted. Oh, don't go there. Don't go there, G. Bush. You're talking too much on a Saturday. Let's get down the list, bro. The best players that you've ever had for the Cleveland Browns were here before you got here. Am I lying? You didn't draft Nick Chubb. Baker Mayfield won a playoff game in Pittsburgh. Kevin Stefanski was at home with COVID. And you didn't draft him either. You didn't draft Denzel Ward. You didn't draft Joe Bitonio. What are we talking about? You didn't draft Myles Garrett. Your best players were from another regime. And guess what happened? Those players got systematically older, more beat up. And instead of you replenishing the cupboards, instead of you going out and making sure we good to go in certain areas, you operate as if you have no plan. I can respect a man that looks like they have a plan, or if they got some conviction in what they want to do. But somebody put in the chat, what is your plan? What is it? You see, what people glaze over the fact was, yeah, Myles Garrett called the Cleveland Browns out. The reality of the situation is Myles Garrett didn't have enough leverage to do what he needed to do. You know why? Because they could not trade Myles Garrett due to his cap hit. You trade Myles Garrett in the cap hit, coupled with the Deshaun Watson cap purgatory, you can't do it. Trade's impossible. But what Myles Garrett was actually said was valid. Don't let the outside circumstances cloud what the thought process was. He said, hey, how are we winning? How are we going to compete? What's the plan here? And even when you got to the offseason and you got to the draft, it seems like you didn't have a plan. You see, what happened is, we'll talk about this a little bit, and I got another clip to show you to set this up. Because this is Miles. Shout out to Miles. He works for CBS. And he was on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And he said something that I found that was very interesting. We do all this talking about them having a plan and the setup and all this stuff and how they're going to execute. There's never been a plan. There is no plan. They come across as someone that's always plugging a hole. Instead of looking at your schedule and looking at a strategic set of points and a map that you got, you're just putting out fires over here. Let me go it's water leaking over here. Let me put that out. It's a little fire right here in the back. Let me get that together. It's smoke over here. Well, hold on. Listen, there's some invaders at the front door. Nah, when you at war, when you trying to do things, you can't be out here worried about, okay, well, there's a plague over here and people is having a famine. Back here, we don't got no food, no resources. Over here, there's a fire. Over here, there's water. Over here, we got termites. There's a whole army at the front gate. And at the back gate, it's a whole bunch of orcs. You're just trying to put them out one by one. That's not a plan. We slipped and lucked up into Shedeur Sanders. You know why? Because there's multiple factions inside the Cleveland Browns organization. From day one, they said, we make collaborative decisions. Well, when you make collaborative decisions, when the decisions don't go right, who do you blame? You see, that's why doesn't it seem like they're tied together? Well, that's why we mentioned Stefanski and Barry and Stefanski, Barry. Don't it seem like they're tied together? Why is that? CFOs and COOs and CEOs ain't tied together. One of them could get fired immediately. The accounting department ain't tied to the marketing department, is it? No, you the head of the accounting. You had but here, you got the owner. You got the analytics led by Dee Podesta. You got the coaching staff, and then you have the front office and the scouting. 4 different factions, 4 different say-sos, 4 different opinions. That's why everything is disjointed. That's why everything looks the way it looks. When you look at the way they drafted, don't get it twisted. The end product can look nice. You can look at the end product and be like, oh, okay, worked out well. I wanted Shedeur at number 2. They got him in the 5th round. It can look nice, but was that the plan? Because if that was the plan, it's hard to explain. What are you doing at 3? What are you doing? You look at this roster. What are you doing? And by the way, when people tell you, oh, our quarterback's in next year's draft, even if the quarterback is in next year's draft, you still got problems with the plan. I'm gonna let him talk. Let him get to it. This was on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
I go back to the draft and I hate the strategy. I mean, I don't like if you are going to draft a rookie quarterback, right? And you're going to draft that rookie quarterback in the 3rd round. First of all, I didn't love trading out of number 2 overall to pick up, when you could have a guy in Travis Hunter who seems like a ready-made.
Say that aloud. First of all, shout out to Travis Hunter. Shout out to Travis Hunter. Let me say that again. Let's get to the shout out to Travis Hunter, who's going to be a monster in this league. There's still people that still salty about that move. And people try to act like, well, Travis Hunter isn't going to be, I don't think he's going to shut your mouth. There's one thing, I'm not taking no slander. If you've never caught no footballs or been tackled or done nothing, I will take no Travis Hunter slander. You, sir, or you, ma'am, have no clue. Don't tell me. Time out. Listen, this is the point too. I'm tired of all these Ricks and Bobbies and Chucks and whoever your name is. I've been devoting my life to watching and playing football. Most of the people I hang with either play professional football or are some part of the game or coaches or general something. Shout out to Chad Brinker. He's a general manager. Shout out to all the Josh McDaniels of the world. I'm not name dropping. I'm just letting you know that when I'm hanging out doing stuff, it ain't hanging out doing stuff at the water cooler. I'm hanging out doing stuff with people that do this for a freaking living. And you telling me Travis Hunter ain't nice? When you say Travis Hunter not nice, you get your cards taken away. Your medals are gone. I can't have conversations with you no more if you don't think Travis Hunter is good. What are you talking about? Some more saying like LeBron's not good. My goodness. See, this is a problem. We give everybody a platform. We let everybody get their social media off. This is the crazy part about it. If I went to NASA and said, hey, look, I think you're doing your rockets all wrong. Let me see your blueprints. Yeah, listen, I think this design could be much better. Let me see. Let me get with your engineers, and we'll look over some of the blueprints, sir. Sir, what are your qualifications? Oh, I stayed at Holiday Inn Express. I like Star Wars too. I think I loved how the second Death Star was. I thought the second Death Star was much better really built than the first one. You know how stupid that would sound? See, the problem with society today is people are just smart enough to not understand that they don't know shit. You don't know nothing, bro. At all. Clueless. You throw a couple buzzwords out and all of a sudden you're an expert. No. We got to start. Here's how you deplatform people. All right, I got to go. Let me give me some coffee.
Superstar, like a true blue chip guy that you can't just bring into your building, under most circumstances. I get though. I can understand that strategy, right? I get trading out of number 2 to number 5. You pick up another 1st round pick. If the Jags are bad this year, that means that could be potentially another top 10 pick, right? Like that I get the strategy of that. And, everybody says that the defensive tackle out of Michigan, really good, so like if he comes in, pairs well with Myles Garrett, that can be a W for you, especially picking up another 1st round pick next year. I can even justify picking Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round, right? If you really believe that he is a high quality backup, fine. Like, I don't necessarily think that. I watched a lot of OU because one of my best friends out here is a big OU guy, so I watch a lot of OU college football. I don't necessarily see it. Watched enough Oregon last year to think like, yeah, he's got good talent, but when a guy is frankly that short. Like, it makes a difference. And when he's short and a lefty, that is like two things that are really working against you, I feel like. So if you think he can be a high quality backup in the third round, all right, fine. But then to come back and trade up for Shedeur Sanders when there's just not enough reps to go around to develop two guys that are that young, like, that's just, it's where I just am confused in the team construction, because you're telling me you would rather have this extra quarterback and you're basically taking a flyer on the QBs, and I get it because of the albatross that is Deshaun Watson. But when you're constructing a team and you've got the holes that the Browns have, and you say to me basically, all right, well, we don't think this late round pick is somebody that can come in and be a rotational player on defense. He can't come in and, play special teams. We'd rather have this QB who is either going to somehow beat out these other guys that we have brought in, or we can develop, but also we've got another developmental QB. Like, that's where the strategy just boggles my mind, and I don't get it.
He's right. He's right. Just remember, just because you end up with in the end, you ended up, it is okay, don't mean there wasn't no problem to think about it. And he brings up a very good point up. Think about this. Think about construction and the way you want to build something. Here's how you know there's multiple people involved in this process. And here's how you know all of them ain't on the same page. And here's how you know that it's disjointed. Because if you look at the way the draft will tell you what the Cleveland Browns organization is, right? The draft and the process will tell you, because you can't listen to what they say. We've known. See, they said Travis Hunter was a generational player. What did they do? Trade the pick. They went out. What kind of smoke screen is that? Think about this. This is how I know it's false. So you mean to tell me if you was going to have Shedeur Sanders as a 5th round pick, why would you don't go to Colorado and post up with him and Travis Hunter, and you're going to trade the pick for Travis Hunter, and then you're going to have Shedeur Sanders be a 5th round pick? You could have stayed at home for that. You could have been going out to scout the people that you really are going to take. Why would you waste your time doing that? So when you look at the quarterback situation and where we are today, again, 4 different quarterbacks, 4 different factions. That don't strike you different? I just gave you the 4 faction. Barry, Stefanski, D. Podesta, Haslam. I didn't give you the 4. Why do you think the 4? Why do you think the 4 is confusing everybody? Why do you think the 4 is throwing everybody off? Why do you think the 4 quarterbacks has the entire country baffled? Because the entire country knows what the protocol is. The entire country knows that you don't go into the offseason with 4 quarterbacks. Everybody knows that there is no such thing as a 4 quarterback competition. It's not. It has never been done. This is the first time. It's the first. Usually, it's a 1 or 2. But they contradict you in their moves. You go out and get Kenny Pickett. Okay. First and foremost, you traded DTR for Kenny Pickett. That should have told you what they thought about Kenny Pickett. You're a Super Bowl champion with a running quarterback. Jalen Hurts could get hurt anytime. They traded their backup quarterback on a Super Bowl winning team for DTR, who won 1 game in his career. 1 game. And guess who he won it against? Pittsburgh Steelers, and the starting quarterback was Kenny Pickett. You can't make it up, people. You can't make it up. Can't make this up. It was Kenny Pickett. DTR has statistically one of the worst careers of all time. And also, we talk about Kevin Stefanski. He did him no favors. Go back and look what he did to DTR. They're going through the season. Deshaun Watson was supposed to play, then he wasn't playing. And this is verifiable. Kevin Stefanski goes to the rookie quarterback against the Baltimore Ravens taps him on the shoulder. Saturday, Sunday morning. He says, you're the starting quarterback. They asked DTR in the press conference, when did you know you were starting? Saturday. And then they had the nerve to get mad at him for telling the truth. You think that's bad? They came back again and did it the very same thing the next year against Pittsburgh this time. When did you know you were starting? Friday. This is what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. That's malpractice. You don't put no young dude out there and don't prepare him to get ready to play against the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you do it not once but twice. And we give passes for this. We give all these passes, right? This is verifiable. It's verifiable. People get mad all the time. G. Bush, man, you shouldn't say that. You said that about so-and-so. Listen, this is verifiable. From people in the season last year was mad because Deshaun Watson, they said they wasn't coaching him up on the film. They was getting after Jameis Winston. They was getting after all the other guys in a public setting, but they wouldn't say nothing to Deshaun Watson. Everybody knows that when you in the game, we coach everybody in here. I don't care who you is. Everybody about to get this work. You do something wrong, everybody knows that as a former football player, I laugh and joke. We go to the sideline. I'm about to get chewed out in film work, bro. I totally went the wrong way on that play. And that play that they ran for 20 yards, I totally lost my team. Yeah. I thought I saw something inside. I'm going to get killed for that. You know what type of time it is. And let's be real about this too. And I want to debunk this really quickly. Let's throw this out here. I don't know why y'all think this is a talking point. If I believe that somebody is good, right? If I believe people always say, you thought Deshaun Watson was going to be good, but he wasn't. I said, listen, my job is to give my opinion about what's going on the football field until the facts come out and I see what it is. My job is, I'm not the general manager. I'm not the owner. My job is not to pick the players. It's Andrew Berry's. So guess what? I can be wrong. I can be like, yeah, I thought Deshaun Watson was going to be good. And by the way, so did every other general manager and every other team owner. That's why there was 7 teams offering crazy money and crazy picks to get Deshaun Watson. Wasn't just me. But that's a red herring. My job ain't to pick the players. It's his. My job is to be entertaining and tell you what I think. So when you're saying how does because I thought Deshaun Watson was going to be good, that lets Andrew Berry off the hook because that's actually his job? When you say, well, Baker wasn't good, but listen, yeah, it's up for them to decide whether if Baker Mayfield is good or not and to move on. They made the decision. I didn't make the decision. That's what they get paid to do. And if I was in that position, I might think a little differently than I think now because it's not my job. So, yeah, when you say, oh, the fact that Baker Mayfield is over somewhere playing better, that is a strike on your resume. What are you talking about? He's thrown for 4,000 yards 2 times in a row. He's been in the Pro Bowl. My question is, why couldn't you get that out of him? Just asking. Deshaun Watson was good in another place. He came here and it wasn't good. Maybe he was shot. Maybe he was mentally prepared, baked. Maybe he just didn't have it no more. But guess what? That's kind of your job. When you go get Case Keenum and you have Case Keenum and you pay him the most money for a backup in the league, $8 million. You got him for a reason. When Baker Mayfield got hurt and you should have sat him down, you didn't. Baker came back and said, I'm playing. Whose job is it to decide who plays or not? It's the coach's job. You didn't sit him. His shoulder got worse. You lost the rest of the season. You didn't make the playoffs. Then after the season, because you had friction, you had to trade him. G. Bush didn't sit in the meeting and do that. He did. What? Come on. Let's keep it a buck. We'll get to Stefanski in a second. I'm gonna get to some of these conversations. We got some things to talk about. We have been with Shador since he was 12. That ain't happening, G. Bush. Hey, listen. Marnat 73. Hey, they thought it was going to work. They thought it was going to work. Hey, speaking of, let's get to this. I'm gonna throw this in. I wasn't even gonna go here, but I'm gonna give you something here because I think it's funny. You guys should get this. They thought it was gonna happen. Man, we about to hear. They was back there talking to each other on these text messages. Yeah, man, we got him now. Got these speeding tickets, boy. He ain't even seen this coming. Here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna go do this interview. You're gonna go do this one. Come off like we really care, like we passionate about this thing. But we gonna hammer him though. He ain't even gonna see it coming. Watch this, by the way. Let me throw this out there. 1,200 people, wherever you at, hit that like button. 1,200 people, hit that like button. I'm gonna do this before I could do the other one. 1 second. P. Rothstein. Gee, I have no faith in Andrew Berry. What picks or free agents have truly worked out? The last general manager drafted all the talent. Stefanski only looked good with Kirk Cousins in Minnesota. That's it. That's it. That's all. Kirk Cousins' best years was after he left, too. Let's be clear. All the numbers. He has never, and out of all of the time we've been here, P. Rothstein, out of all of the times he's been here, he's developed no receiver. The only top 10 pick that he got was Jed Wills, who is not in the league anymore. Not even in the league anymore. He took him over Tristan Wirfs. Okay. Not in the league anymore. He's never developed a receiver. Not one. When they got here, he had Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry. And Njoku. Where's the development of receivers? You haven't developed anybody. It was all the other dudes. And what are we talking about here? Greg Newsome is decent. He's decent, but that was a first-round pick. Would you say that Greg Newsome has hit as a first-round pick? If Martin Emerson was a third-round pick and came in and took Greg Newsome's minutes, he had to move to the slot. New member, man. At Stony QTT, we appreciate you over there, man. That's a sharp picture too, my brother. Baba Bo, keep preaching it. It all starts with ownership. I do wonder if Al Lerner lived 5 more years. Man, it was crazy because they dropped it to his son. His son didn't care nothing about this. His son was like, I'm done with this. Let me throw you this real quick. Oh, I forgot I got another angle I got coming up too. Coming up later in the show. The elephant in the room is this. These sources, these mythical sources that people be having, I'm going to tell you something they don't want you to hear. Hold on. We still got some time. We still got some time right here on the barbershop, and I want to let everybody know. I appreciate y'all. The first snip of my brand new show with my 2 brothers, Bryson and Trent, is coming out today. It's at 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock is called Top 5. We are going to be doing, right now on Top 5, we're going to be going over the top 5 sitcoms of all time. Now, this is the list of everyone. So when you check it out, Make sure you do that. I'll put a link in the description. 12 o'clock. Make sure you guys go check that out. Subscribe to the channel. It's the first episode. I'll have 3 episodes this week. Part 1, part 2, part 3. And then next week, you'll have the whole entire episode to watch. I appreciate you guys. I'll mention that as well so you guys can get that. Let's start with this, though. Somebody said this. So somebody put this together on Twitter, and I could not help but laugh. Obviously, speeding is something that could be dangerous. We already talked about it. We already put the disclaimer out here. But speeding is something that all people do, whether you're going 1 mile over or 10 mile over or whatever the case may be. But I always thought this was funny. Look at this. This is just for the Cleveland Browns. Now, if you just new to the game, you would have acted like didn't nobody in their mama ever speed nowhere. That nobody, no one does that. Well, Chris Jennings, I don't know who he is. He was on the team for like 3 days, and the team was terrible back then too. I think they won 4 games he was playing. Chris Jennings was going 147. 147? This dude, like, he was trying to, like, that's like Captain Kirk. That's Mach 2. That's warp drive 3 1/4. Chris Jennings was going 147. Myles Garrett was going 120. Myles Garrett looked like he might have been in a small aircraft. He had a small 120. Shador was going 101. But Jed Wills and Hollywood Higgins was drag racing. Where do you find, come on, this was actually, where do you find the room to straight up drag race, bro? And with a name like Hollywood Higgins, bro, this is something off a TV script. This is something off the Disney cars, Pixar cars. What's his name? That little red car? Somebody let me know what that red car's name is. He was facing Hollywood Higgins and Jed Wills. This sound crazy. Hey, but they went team by team, though. Team by team. Let's get to the Cavs. Oh, wow. Cavs. Legal car trouble. LeBron was going 101. Now, this is kind of crazy. J.J. Hickson was going 61 in the 25. 61 in the 25 is wild work, bro. Think about this. The only 25 miles an hour I can think of is by a school, a hospital, a church, a monastery, a nursing home. Bro, like you literally, it's by places where people are either feeble, their soul is about to be lifted from them, or they are minors and cannot protect themselves. He was moving at 61 miles an hour. J.R. Smith, excessive speeding. I don't know what he must have couldn't find the real statistics, but he was like, listen, it's J.R. Smith. He called a timeout when we was winning. He probably was going real fast. And here's the crazy part. He had to get with the what's-the-names too. He gave it to him. He gave it to him as well. Cleveland Guardians. They got some boys up here too that been moving with the cars. Milton Bradley fled after speeding. So he was going so fast, cops pulled him over. He said, nah, I got to go. I won't be sticking around for this traffic citation. Albert Bale, this dude, trick-or-treaters came to his crib, knocked on the door. I think they was egging his house. Somebody, was that the one that they egged Albert's house? He got into his car and pursued the kids. Like, I'm going to get y'all. And was cited for reckless driving, pursuing minors. You see, this is what I'm talking about. When you bring these things up, it make people look foolish, don't it? Don't it just take all the sting away from it? And you really realize, man, you was really trying to virtual signal. You really was trying to get that off, weren't you? But when you watch this stuff and you look at it, you're like, you never cared about that. Jason Kipnis was told by the cop to focus on hitting 100 and not hitting 100 miles an hour. Whoever put this up, I wish I could give you credit. Listen, man, this was brilliant. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, because what it does, it just puts things in perspective a little bit. When you show the receipts and you say, come on, fellas, I want to see what you was writing back then. A lot of y'all been in the Cleveland media for 40, 50, 60, 70 years, 90 years y'all been here. I want to see what you wrote on that. Y'all had some columns on that back in the day? I need to know. Just asking. Smitty, that's a sharp. I like that, Smitty. I like that sharp picture right there, my bro. Man, we should have never let John Dorsey go. I'm confused why they did. Best players we got. Best players we ever had. I'm confused, bro. We was cooking. We was cooking. Come on, man. My plan, I recently upgraded my living arrangement. Last year, I became a published author with 3 books, Shadow Force and Blockade series. I appreciate you. Man, make sure y'all go check that out, man. Show us a link or something, but put your link out there, man. Yoshi Dochi 2006. We respect entrepreneurs. We respect people out there doing something. I've always wanted to write a book. I just don't know how that works. I'm like, bro, I got to sit down for a long time to do it. Can I have somebody ghostwrite that, or I just talk? I just talk and they just translate my words into something. Let me know if that's a possibility. But shout out to you. That's a big accomplishment. We appreciate you jumping in with us, and make sure you guys go check that out. Support that. Let's get to a couple more of these live joints. Good morning. How you doing? Let's go. This is why G can't have nice things. We won't toe the line. Yeah, that is right. That's a thing. I always say this. Look, there's always something out here that says, look, if you just play nice. Somebody compared me to Stephen A. Smith. I said, man, I can't be Stephen A. I tell the truth too much. Like, there's no, maybe because you feel like I'm, Stephen A. One thing I will give to Stephen A. Smith, and you cannot knock this, is I'm a big believer in people doing their thing and working hard. Like, people will say the Kardashians don't have no talent, right? I disagree. Their talent is work ethic. Like, hustling is a talent. Because my coach used to always tell us, you should be willing to play as hard as you have to play harder, so that either somebody physically can't play as hard as long as you, or they don't have the mental fortitude to stay mentally tough to do it. That's a skill set to me. Being able to get up every single day, if you're a Kardashian and know that camera is on and know that you have to have makeup on and know that you got this, trust me, sometimes I look at it. I got cue cards. So sometimes I look at it. Don't take this. This is cue cards from my show. Top 5. Watch it today. Sometimes they got cue cards and I'm like this. I look at the schedule and be like, I got all this to do. I got an interview at 2. I just got off the set. I got to do a podcast. I got to upload this. I'm going to go over here to talk to somebody about some clothing. I got to, you look at your schedule and it's hard every single day because you just want to go to sleep. You don't be wanting to do all that. You be like, I'm done with that. I'm about to be cool. Getting up and just going down through and making sure you have that consistent work ethic to say, I'm going to make it to everything on my list. And I figured out what that was about school. And it's a little roundabout thing, but we'll get back to it. Trust me. I didn't go to college. I didn't go to class a lot. To be truthful, I thank God every single day. I don't know how I graduated and double majored. I don't know how I did it because I don't remember going to class all like that. But the coaches used to always punish you because they said you gotta go to class. I'm like, listen, all I need is a syllabus. You give me a syllabus, I can study for that test. The only thing we have is a midterm and this little group project and a final. Why do I need to be there? But you know what they was trying to teach us though, is that going and showing up is half the battle. Showing is half the battle. We might not think of it like this, and we might not understand it like that, but they was trying to teach you a point. Discipline. Discipline. Yeah, you may not need to go. You might not want to go. You might actually do pretty well. But there's going to be some things in life that's not going to come easy to you. You're going to have to show up for that. You're going to have to do some extra work. You might have to get in some study groups. You might have to go to the teacher's open office hours before and after. You might have to be emailing. You might have to get with somebody. Everything ain't going to come easy to you like that. So what you got to do is sometimes they teach you the discipline now to say, hey, the reason we wake you up at 5 and make you run and lift and max out squats, and you're so sick and tired and you're giving it up because you're fatigued, and then they get you up again and they're like, okay, well, that was 5 to 6. We're going to run, we're going to lift, then we're going to watch film, then you're going to go to breakfast, then you go to class from 2 to 6, then you go to study tables. You're like, dang, bro, I just did all that. Well, that gets you prepared for now. Because then you can always look at this schedule that I just threw down and say, boy, you ain't doing nothing but talking on a microphone. You remember when you used to have to get up at 5 and 6 when your body was hurting and people was looking over you and making you run and lift and max out? See, I can never be mad at it now because I tell myself, this ain't no work. It's a blessing you get to sit up here and talk that talk, and they're going to pay you to talk like that. Bro, come on, bro. You had real jobs, and that is the reason why. Now, bring back to Stephen A. Smith. Shout out to Stephen A. Smith. He's one of the hardest working dudes in the game. Hardest working dude. He got 17 jobs. He busts his tail, and you can't take that from nobody. You can't. I don't care if you don't like the Kardashians or Stephen A. Smith or Skip Bayless. These dudes is willing to be uncomfortable to get that bag. You may like them, you may not like what they say, but you can't never knock a man's hustle. If you waking up every single day, you can never be stopped because you're gonna put one leg in front of the other, and before you look, you're gonna turn back. You're gonna be like, dang, I came a long way. That being said, that was a little side. We get back to it. We appreciate you for letting me have a little grace and move how I want to move with that, man. So we kind of talked about this a little bit. Let's get to Kevin Stefanski. Now, Kevin Stefanski is not the same as Andrew Berry. Here's my problem what I got with Kevin Stefanski. He's been 2-time coach of the year, and I think that muddies the waters a little bit. But also remember, his peers, they vote for that. Media votes for that. So when you talk about Kevin Stefanski and 2-time coach of the year, you look at his status as a quarterback guru. And this is my point. We are amidst of a quarterback battle right now. We are amidst in a quarterback battle. And I'm not sure if Kevin Stefanski has the skill sets to determine what a superstar quarterback looks like. Let me give you this. Bear with me here. The Cleveland Browns, when we talk about the plan and how the plan is all over the place, you draft Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round. All prognosticators said that was a reach. Dylan Gabriel was not going before the 5th or 6th round at all. It was not being mentioned. So you take him there and you wonder, okay, if you're going to take somebody in the 3rd round, what skill set am I looking for? Does he have a rocket arm? No. He's played in, people talk about he's played in 3 different systems. That's great. Everybody playing in 3 different systems now. That's awesome. But at the same time, I can look at that and say, you know what? That don't say much. My thing is this: if you're a quarterback, why you jumping squad so many times? You playing with great teams. Why can't you went from UCF to Oklahoma to Oregon? Y'all still didn't win nothing. I could look at it as a totally different way. No, I'm not doing that, but I'm just saying, I'm playing devil's advocate. Don't make it like I said he's garbage, right? But the problem is this. Obviously, one of the factions picked him in the 3rd round. One of the other factions said, I don't want Travis Hunter. You know why? Because their eye is already on next year. Man, let me cook. Let me cook. I've been working on this theory. Let me cook. Hit the like button. So you come into this draft, and I'm going to tell you which faction did what. You come into this draft, and you got the number 2 overall pick. The number 2 overall pick can be Shedeur Sanders or Travis Hunter or a defensive end, right? Abdul Carter. You don't take Abdul Carter, right? Think about this. They took Mason Graham, and Abdul Carter could have been the other end. Everybody said that Abdul Carter was better than Mason Graham, but you passed on him. You then passed on Ashton Genty. You passed on Travis Hunter. And you got Mason Graham. Not saying Mason Graham might not be somebody. He could be, but I'm just saying. Just saying. You don't take Shedeur Sanders at 2 or 33. To me, that was the Andrew Berry move. Andrew Berry was convinced by the front office that he had time to play, that he got a vote of confidence that he was going to be here. And so for him, his magic move was, let me wait till next year. Because you know what? I need Arch Manning next year. I'm locked in. Locked in. Never move me for Arch Manning. I'm the one who got Arch Manning. I'm the one who maneuvered and got the pick. Let next year so we can package something, but he don't understand. You see, to even get that pick and packaged, you're going to need to be bad this year. You're going to have to be all-time bad now. And being all-time bad now does what? Put stress on a coach that was 3-14 last year. Put stress on a coach that was 3-14. Now you get to Kevin Stefanski. Oh, well, that's the move you picking? Well, that's the move I'm picking. I need me somebody who can play right now. Get all this stuff. I need somebody to play right now. Here's what we're going to do. Why did you get Flacco early in the process, later in the process? Because the tank was coming. It was already spread around. Why you think listen, I tell you all the time, it's not about this year. I didn't say it. Just go look. It's not about this year. It's about the dome. It's about who you got going into the dome. That sounds crazy. And that's pause-worthy too. Pause. But guess what? Stefanski says, oh no, I see what the writing on the wall is with this one. I'm going to get me somebody I think is smart, that can learn what I can learn, whatever the case may be. And I'm going to get him in the 3rd round. I'm going to take Dylan Gabriel. Because guess what? You take Dylan Gabriel and you mess around and try to start him. Guess what? If he plays decent, now that's on your resume. Look what I did with Dylan Gabriel. Nobody thought I could do nothing with Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel wasn't on nobody's radar. Guess what? I'm going to take him and I can make him into something. Then they'll never get rid of me. Because guess what? I got Dylan Gabriel. I make Dylan Gabriel look great. See, I'm a coach that could do something. He wants somebody, see, what he learned was, he wants somebody with a certain personality, skill set. He did not get along with Baker Mayfield. That's verifiable. Verifiable. Baker told him he was playing, and I'm not sitting down, and he kind of had to do it. He did not do good with Jameis Winston. As a matter of fact, when Jameis Winston became the quarterback, he gave up play calling. I'm done with this. Let Dorsey run it. Jameis Winston comes back to him and says, hey, I thought I came here as a free agent for you to call plays. What's going on? Some would argue he didn't want to be attached to that record. Deshaun Watson is done. I'm done. You know why? Because then you can't really say, because guess what? Deshaun Watson played half the year, maybe less than half the year. He still had 7, 8, 10 games to go, and his name was going to be attached to that record as the offensive coordinator. That is the reason he gave up play calling. Because it's easier to say, oh, after the season's over, oh, Dorsey was terrible, which he was, but he's detaching himself from that move. That wasn't slick. I'm cooking. I'm telling you, I'm cooking. Yeah, I'm going to give up play calling. Why? We know why. You didn't get along with Deshaun Watson. Because obviously you didn't have the confidence level to call him out during meetings. Come on, man. So now, when you get a quarterback, I need somebody specifically, it got to fit the mold. Dylan Gabriel ain't going to talk back. Dylan Gabriel ain't going to be no superstar quarterback. Dylan Gabriel's going to go out there, do his job, and be cool. You know why? They drafted you in the 3rd round. You was not going past the 3rd round. You was not going higher than you were surprised when your name was called. And now they have to go back and justify why it is they took him in the 3rd round. Well, he destroyed his pre-draft process. What does that mean? What does that really mean? When they say what does that mean? When he answer questions good? Can he throw the football? What are you saying? What is this pre-draft process? What is it? You telling me that we'll get to that later. So I think Kevin Stefanski picked Dylan Gabriel. There you go. So now, guess what? You're at a standstill, so to speak, right? Because now all of a sudden, Andrew Berry is banking on the fact that we're not going to be good next year. I'm trading these picks, and I'm going to get me Archman. That's my move. Kevin Stefanski is like, get that. I'm going to get my own quarterback and show that what I could do with a quarterback. Because guess what? He knows he has to do something. You got all the ammunition. You had 2 second-round picks. You had a first-round pick. You got ammunition. These are your quarterbacks. You picked them. And then the analytics department stepped in and said, well, that's what y'all want to do. We're going to make the signing of Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett? For what? Our advanced analytics tell us that there's something to be had there for him. And we're prisoner in the moment because Sam Darnold actually looked like he was good last year. We're going to try to see if we can do the same thing. That's why can't nobody tell you why they like Kenny Pickett. Have you, again, make them say it. Don't let them off the hook. Make them spell it out. Why do you think he's automatically the starting quarterback? Say it, please. Give me a skill set. Is he fast? Is he mobile? No. Is his arm crazy? No. Is he efficient with the football? No. Does he have a good win-loss record? No. Is he some sort of guy that galvanizes the locker room? Like, no. They can't tell you why. They just keep saying, but I think that Kenny Pickett is going to start. Why? I just think so. Okay. I'm still looking for the stats. I'm still looking. So I think the analytics department said, let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, let's look at that. Let's look at that. And then you have the fourth faction. The fourth faction is this. Good old Jimmy Haslam. You see, Jimmy Haslam, by the way, who probably is going to be the owner, the primary owner of the Milwaukee Bucks coming up here in a little bit. You see, Jimmy Haslam, he had a conversation, and he's emotional, and, you know, he's the owner of a team, and the owner of a team cannot pass up a great marketing opportunity. I think they even talked about it. They sat there and presented their PowerPoint presentations to him. He said, cool, I'll go with that. Take Pickett first. He'll start some games for us. We'll transition into Dylan Gabriel. All good. And we got this pick for next year in case Dylan Gabriel ain't even good. If he's not good, who cares? Kev, we'll let you pick out another quarterback. Hopefully we get Arch. Cool. But then you know what started happening? That slide started happening. Which, by the way, I don't believe the slide was. By the way, by the collusion article. But the collusion article, by the way, I was going to do that story. If you haven't watched it, you're going to go back and watch it. But Mike Florio broke the collusion story, basically saying that the league is colluded with holding players' contracts down. I believe the league colludes when it comes to draft picks. I believe the league colludes when they drop stories and information to different reporters. I believe the league colludes when it talks about how much we're going to pay you or what we're not going to pay you or what the suspension is going to be. I thought it was very ironic that the league just came out yesterday with the news that Justin Tucker will be receiving a 10-game suspension that was broken by Mike Florio talked about that. And I find it very ironic that news came down the day after the story of collusion broke. See, they're good at burying stories. Oh, y'all got a collusion story? Miraculously. See how little any outlet talked about it. We talked about it here first. Look how little people talk about it. Because the league does a very good job of pouring cold water on any stories. You think these folks, you think a bunch of these folks that don't talk to no players no more, that ain't got no inside sources, you think they're not getting that information? Here's how we gonna handle this. And so we eloquently pointed out here that Deshaun Watson got 11 games after Sue Robinson, the judge, the federal judge, retired federal judge, who was put over that process, gave him 6 games. Yet and still, the league came back and appealed to themselves and gave him 11 games. You say, what does that have to do with anything, G. Bush? What are you talking about? Well, I think it's funny because Sue Robinson was not involved in Justin Tucker's position. Wasn't even involved. It was a negotiated plea deal that Justin Tucker and his representative took 10 games. You know why it was negotiated off the books? It's because they no longer needed the optics of saying, we're going to be fair and equitable, and we're going to put a female retired judge over this case. So whatever comes down should be fair, equitable, and we should have no harm, no foul. But it backfired on them. She came back with 6 games, and they had to say, well, We still got to punish them. We got to punish the Cleveland Browns for doing that with that Deshaun Watson contract, and we got to get that together. So we're going to give him 11 games. Justin Tucker gets 10. And, by the way, stays out of the news. Now everybody wants to talk about the Justin Tucker 10 games instead of the collusion the day before. Mike Florio even laughed and joked, said, it's funny how they broke this news and funny how nobody talked about the collusion news. I said, well, Mike, you got to understand something now. Did you think they were going to give you that bone? Did you think they were going to throw you a bone with that? These fellas are smart, boy. They are smart. You don't get to be a billionaire by being a dummy. You just don't. It don't work that way. But when you look at Kevin Stefanski, and we go back to it, Kevin Stefanski, he wanted Dylan Gabriel. Andrew Berry, punt. We'll take Kenny Pickett and take these L's. Analytics department, they're like, well, you know, we could probably go with Pickett, but we like Flacco a little bit. Flacco runs the play action. He's cheap, 40. We don't got to deal with him. He'll be in and out. The fans already wanted him. We're good. So they go Flacco, Gabriel, Pickett. Whoever comes out the veteran is the veteran leader. We can move one of them, and then we keep Dylan Gabriel as the backup. When we losing a bunch of game seasons out of tow, we go ahead with Dylan Gabriel. But one thing happened. The salesman, Jimmy Haslam, said, listen, I got to get this stadium improved. I got to get this stadium approved. I got 3-14 ain't gonna get it done. This fan base is looking kind of thirsty. We got to figure something out. The Deshaun Watson thing sucked the energy out of the stadium. He said, I might want to inquire. I want to inquire about Shedeur Sanders. And I think he might have won Shedeur Sanders at 2 or 33. He held off because the advisors held off and said, okay, Jimmy, hold tight. They drafted Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round, and the plan looked like it was going to be complete. Jimmy held off long enough. There ain't no problems. But then the 4th round came. And then the 5th round came. And then they woke up. I don't know who said it. I don't know what happened between the time he went to sleep and when he woke up. They went out and when he got up that next day, he had the resolve to say, I don't care what y'all want. I want this dude right here. Because more than anything, owners want to swing for the fences. Billionaires don't get to be billionaires by taking no risks. At the end of the day, he's a risk taker. He said, give me that dude. Give me that dude. And when the king says, give me that dude, what you do, you scramble. They scrambled, moved around, moved some things around. I believe he talked to the league a little bit. Hey, listen, I'm going to take Dylan in the 3rd round. You make sure Shedeur be there in the 5th. I already said I was sorry about the Deshaun Watson. This is why, G. Bush. This is why you can't have nothing nice. You can't be dropping no jewels like that. You're dropping jewels right now. And I'm not talking about Santana. They take him in the 5th, and you end up with a country divided. Because now, unbeknownst to a lot of different people, what they're finding out is he can actually play. Hold on. Because that's what happens when you're not a good talent evaluator. You actually don't know who's good and who's not. You're guessing. Because all of the people that we see you bring in here, they're not balling at quarterback. Most of them, you're like, what do you see in that? Why are you running this play? Why don't you have a top 10 offense? You don't like receivers? Think about it. If you were going to just tank this year and lose all these football games this year, why would you draft any quarterbacks? This is how you know. What are you guys doing? If you're going to tank, all you had to do is go get Flacco and Pickett. If you want a competition, none of them are going to be here past this year, and just lose games. But you know what you could have done? Instead of taking a quarterback in the third round and a quarterback in the fifth round, you could have took a receiver because you have none. You could have took another linebacker. You could have took another tackle. You could have taken anybody else that would have helped your organization do what you actually wanted to do, which was tank and get a quarterback next year. And it would have been much easier to do it with these two old quarterbacks. But now you're confused and convoluted because now each one of you is sitting around with conflicting roles, moves, and how you want to proceed forward. And that is why every single person you talk to has no clue on who the quarterback is going to be. Pro players, TJ Husmanzada. I talked to somebody who said it was Pickett and Gabriel. I talked to Jason Lloyd. He said Flacco looked the best, but I think Kenny Pickett gonna start. Mary Kay, I think Dylan Gabriel's up for the job. Shador is on the other field. And Pickett is the starter. You ain't got to ask Aditi what she think. Pickett all day. But then you get people like Hanford Dixon that say, nah, he about to be the next dude. I'm going to compare him to Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. You get guys like Kurt Warner, who says he can throw the ball. Drew Bledsoe, he can throw the ball. You keep saying, Zach Jackson said Dylan Gabriel has zero chance to be a quarterback. You saw Miles say, listen, he has some limitations. This is why you're getting all of these different, because everybody got a different agenda. Not one band, one sound. The trumpets is doing something. The saxophones is over here. The bass drums and the timpanis and they all off. The crash cymbals is, no, it's not cohesive. So when you start talking about how it is somebody needs to step up and show this and show that, how you going to show something in a room full of people who have no clue about what they want to do or why or what rhyme or reason? It's confusing. There was no plan last year. Ask yourself, think about this. We're gonna get to this and we'll keep it moving. But I just want to say this so we can act like this is not refutable. And if you are going to call me a clown or a loser, at least give me some clown or loser rebuttals. Because what I'm kicking is not refutable. I'm waiting to see it. Here's how you know there's no plan. The year that they went to the playoffs with 5 different quarterbacks. 5. Deshaun Watson got hurt after a few games. You had PJ Walker. You had DTR. Then you got Joe Flacco off the couch. You were running what you wanted to run. You go to the playoffs, you lose to the Houston Texans, but you're 11-6. You run off records, the Browns are in the playoffs. Myles Garrett is the defensive player of the year. Jim Schwartz, the defensive coordinator, is the assistant of the year. Head coach Kevin Stefanski is the coach of the year. They sweep the awards. How is it in a year that you do that, the offensive coordinator gets fired? The tight ends coach gets fired. Running backs coach fired. What? It's contradictory. How can the person who is in charge of the offense, the offensive coordinator, who helped create every game plan, who helped execute game plans, and was the quarterback coach for all 5 of the guys who you rotated in, but he gets fired. Kevin Stefanski then wins Coach of the Year because of why? He had 5 quarterbacks and they went to the playoffs still. So how can that be a fireable offense, but at the same time you can win the Coach of the Year? You can't make this up, people. How is that a feather in your cap, but the offensive coordinator gets fired? Then the next year, you got a brand new offense. You bring in Dorsey to be able to throw the ball with Deshaun Watson. Nasty work the first 6 weeks. And guess what? Who was calling plays? You were calling plays, Kev. Those were your plays. When Deshaun Watson goes out, you gracefully bow out and say, Jameis Winston, you're going to work with Dorsey. Why don't you keep calling the plays, bro? I'm confused. Now I'm cool. I'm going to concentrate on other things. What? You were still the most penalized team. I'm going to concentrate on what? What you weren't concentrating on not having penalties. What were you concentrating on at the end of the 3-14 season? See, here's the reality of the situation. We're talking about all 4 of these quarterbacks and what they need to be doing and how they need to be doing it and all that good stuff. But guess what, man? I think your coaching staff and your front office need to be reevaluated as well. All of this noise and jargon about how high and mighty they are and how great they need to be and how people need to toe the line. No, they need to show the organization and they need to show the fan base and they need to show that they can prove their worth. All of this talking, and let's be clear about it. You won 3 games last year. You ain't won nothing since 1989. Stop all the high and mighty stuff. And it would help if people actually held them accountable and stopped running around rubbing their shoulders, but it's not going to work because everybody want to show. Kevin Stefanski ain't never pulling up on a barbershop. He's welcome, but I don't need him to pull up on a barbershop. I ain't pandering for nothing. At the end of the day, it's balls and strikes. Right now, you're out of there. I'm just playing. Get to your comments. Guys have been balling. Let me pull this down. What is Mary Kay's obsession with Shedeur Sanders? He moves the needle. You can either talk about the 3rd-team fullback or the 4th-team running back or who's going to play offensive tackle, or you can talk about Shedeur Sanders. And that's what people are going to choose to say. Now, here's the thing, though. I don't think the exception I got a problem with is I don't like when people are like, why are you so popular? I don't understand that, the line of comments. And the other thing I don't like is that people is running around acting and pretending like you can't play football. Like they almost want to say, why are you so popular? Because we don't think you're good. We're trying to figure out why people follow you and we just don't think you're good. Add the we don't think you're good part. Because that's the part people missing and leaving out. People say, why, and trust me, it's correct. When people say, why is Kim Kardashian so popular? It's because people in their mind have already filled out the second part of that statement. Why is she so popular? Because I don't think she does anything. Why is she so popular? I don't think she's talented. Why is she so popular? I don't think she's that intelligent or smart or does it. That's the second part of it that nobody will say out loud. You're like, oh, okay. Why are you so popular? Because I don't think you that nice. That's where we be at. It won't let me post a link. Joseph Potter on Amazon. Advice G, write your story, do it yourself, share your knowledge and passion, faith in you. Shout out to you as well out there. Check out Joseph Potter on Amazon. Make sure y'all go check that out. I don't know why we can't post a link or whatever. Maybe it's we'll see if we can figure that out. Maybe it's the way the stream is set up. We appreciate you as well. Joseph Potter on Amazon. Make sure you guys go out there and check that. G. Bush, don't miss. That's why I messes with the barbershop. G. Bush is trying to get the Browns a new front office. Hey, man, I want either or. They're going to have to step it up. They're going to step their game up. They have to do something. Step that game up. I'm telling you. Barry is horrible. Schwartz and Ika, worst draft picks in history. Both belong on the field. Both didn't belong on the field, and they were third-round picks. Add Gabriel to unplayable list. Barry is too arrogant to be a GM. You know, I think, let me see what we got down here. New here. Love your show and how you articulate things. Cecily Sutton, I appreciate you so much. We appreciate you jumping in and tapping in with the show. We definitely do. She won the NFL award and she hasn't stopped talking about him since. And she admit to being in the collusion meeting. They still doing it. I did catch that, by the way. She was at the meetings, by the way. The collusion game, and you know why I love it, and I'm so happy. I'm not happy people getting colluded against. It's because sometimes when you say something, always remember this. Sometimes you're not going to be vindicated for some years. Sometimes you're not going to be vindicated. You're not going to be proven right for years. And character is what you do and how you stand for them years when people is looking at you like this. It was a lot of people a couple of years ago that was looking at me like some conspiracy theorist or some dude or not like, you know, when I was the first dude, you still see people who say it. You still people who say it. I said, yo, they don't like to take. I said, listen, how you gonna tell somebody they can't kneel for something peacefully? You done lost your mind. Now, hindsight is 2020. You can't tell people to shut up and dribble no more. I said, listen, unequivocally, if you tell me to shut up and dribble, that is almost like calling me outside of my name. That's how seriously I take it. That I take it as you better shuck and jive and tap dance for us, and that's all we want to hear from you. Don't you tell me about your life, your personality, your struggle, whatever you're going through. You shut up and entertain me. Boy. So you're not going to get that all the time. But I told people back then, I said, everything that the NFL does, that ain't got nothing to do with they trying to get morally together, figuring out what's right. They trying to figure out how we gonna keep making this money and not giving y'all no money. And they keep looking around. I told people earlier this week in the NBA, the reason why owners are selling teams in the NBA is because the salaries is getting wild. When owners can't meet payroll. See, now a lot of them old mom and pop dudes, think about it. The Lakers just sold for $10 billion. Think about the flagships in the game. Mark Cuban sold the Dallas Mavericks. The Buses sold the Lakers. The Celtics were sold. Dan Gilbert just sold 15% of his squad. These is billionaires. You see how the level of game is going up? I keep trying to tell people what's happening outside is the shift is taking place. It's a bunch of new rich people now. They got rich over the pandemic. They ain't paying no taxes neither. Now you got to be super rich to own a team. You can't just have I own a team, I'm rich. No. You need to be like, I own an Amazon. I own some land. I got an oil field somewhere. I do logistics. I got patents on computer. You better be, I'm a hedge fund. You got to have super money because now you paying dudes $300 million, $400 million. Guys got it, and then you paying luxury taxes. Look at baseball. Shohei Ohtani makes so much money. He said, listen, to be able to do something with the team, here's what we're going to do, Dodgers. You just pay me, you defer my payments. That's crazy. They put his stuff in an annuity and pay him $1 million a year. This dude is gonna be rich forever. That's how much money he's banking. They have to defer it because they can't make payroll. The NFL sees this. The NFL sees this, understands it, and says, under no circumstances can we start to divide this pot up like this. We cannot pay quarterbacks $500-600 million guaranteed, because when you start guaranteeing it, what's to say that we can't guarantee? And we're looking at the fact that Roger Goodell gets to run the whole thing. So when you appeal the league, you appeal back to the same person. There's no equal arbitration or arbiter. What are we talking about? It's the most savage sport. It's the sport that, it's the only sport that you can say, yeah, we signed you for 3 years, $125 million, but after the second year, you don't get guaranteed nothing. It's wild. And they willing to go to the mat to protect it. They don't care if they got to text message each other. We will not be paying so-and-so, or anybody will be paying so-and-so that amount of money. Why Cleveland want all their athletes humbled? Man, you always be asking me these questions. Here's what it is. Why do people want you humbled? Why do people want you to? Because there is a healthy love-hate relationship between athletes and regular people. Regular people who go to work, they do 9 to 5s, and I get what those regular people do. Regular people in the United States, they don't get time off. They don't get PTO. They want to give you a 2% raise, 2.5% raise, but inflation is going every single year. So whatever the cost of living, I'm not even getting a cost of living wage adjustment. That little 2.5% you give me ain't a bonus for what I do. That's just that's the outpace inflation, right? People going to work busting their tails. They sink their ideals into sports, right? So they think that this is my ideal. I'm gonna leave reality and I'm gonna hang out and I'm gonna watch my favorite specific team. The reason why they got an issue with it is because they perceive that athletes play a kid's game and make more money than they'll ever see, which is true. Yet and still, because they are invested, their heart, body, and soul. I always talk about how football has become a sort of a religion, which is not no disrespect, but when I mean religion, it means people, they act fanatically when it comes to it. So they're not giving up their team. They're not giving up the sport. They're going to continue to watch. But the reality of the situation is it's a love-hate relationship. They see you as a person, but they also see you as a commodity, as a sort of toy, as a sort of throw it away, discard it, we'll get another one. And because they do believe where they at, you're closer to where they're going to be than they'll ever be to an owner. We don't challenge authority figures in this country because maybe one day we might want to join that certain authority group, but they don't understand that's not happening. So they lash out at the players and they want them to be humble, and because they believe that they're little toy soldiers, so to speak. We talk about it all the time. It's why people can boo people when they get hurt or cheer when they get hurt. And it happens for multiple people. Happened to Deshaun Watson, happened to Jed Wills, happened to Tim Couch. I can keep giving you time and time why people will joyfully cheer when people get hurt. It's because they see you as entertainment. The gladiator arena. We've been doing this since the beginning of time. Hey, Mr. King, you had the audacity to call SGA a supermarket. Yeah, man, you gotta call him Big SGA now. Because, and they up next. They up next. You can't even look at SGA no more. You can't foul. Can't even look at SGA no more. Lawrence RBE. That's been my concern, and is the organization, assuming 12 does what I expect, and they are quick to fully support him. How do you think this plays out? Well, here's the thing. Usually how this really works and plays out, Lawrence, thank you for the super chat. How it usually plays out is this. I believe that when you get franchise quarterbacks like Joe Burrow or other places like that, or LeBron James or different places and people, those quarterbacks, they transcend what a coach is. Let me give you an example. You can't teach Patrick Mahomes. Can't teach that. You can't teach Lamar Jackson. It just is. It's the way of it's just what it is. And there's been bad organizations that get good quarterbacks and it changes like that. And I think the thing that if you are a Shedeur Sanders fan and you want to see Shedeur Sanders play, you have to take solace in the fact that he'll get his opportunity, whether it's here, somewhere else. He'll get his opportunity. And when he does get his opportunity and he takes advantage of it, then the ball's out of their court. That's how it works with football. When you become the face of a franchise, it stops a lot of it. The articles stop. You know, instead of writing the bad articles, now they swim in to try to get the access. Instead of, you know, the head coach coming out saying different things, now he better switch his tone because he understands that his job is attached to the quarterback. You know, now when he's on every billboard, when the Browns are on 4:00 games or primetime games and everybody's talking about it, then that's why it hits different. Now the general manager and the coach serve at the pleasure of the franchise quarterback. That's why so many people like LeBron James but hate him at the same time, because they know that LeBron James chooses the head coach. LeBron James is going to talk about what free agency wants. LeBron James can say certain things in the media and you can't say nothing back. Y'all got to have closed doors meeting. This is why when people say people want you to stay humble, this goes along with that as well. If Shedeur Sanders gets if he's good and he becomes a franchise quarterback, what people don't realize is the reason why they're so standoffish and they got to put you through them hoops and do all this stuff and the pre-combine stuff and the interviews and all that. That ain't for the wins and losses. That's for seeing if you could play the game, their game. How much of a headache are you going to be? How many times you going to talk out of turn? You going to give our head coach fired? You going to put our GM on blast when we lose in the playoffs and we don't got receivers or the offensive line is bad? You see, that's what they're vetting out. They're not vetting out how many wins you're going to get. It's the collateral damage, and how are we going to give you the keys? We give you the keys. And when you give somebody the keys, that's to everything. The janitor's closet, the head coach, the owner. Because when you get them keys as a quarterback, Joe Burrow decides who gets contracts. Not the Brown family. Patrick Mahomes decides what receivers he wants. Josh Allen decides who the coordinator is going to be. Because at that point, it's one of 32 positions. And at that position at 32, whoop, it's you if you're the best 32, you're the best in the universe, bro. You can't teach that. When they get behind the helm, it's like fighting a gun. It's like driving a Gundam, a mobile suit. You can't teach a pilot how to do that. How did you shoot down that other mobile Gundam suit? It's just, it's attached to my brain. I got my own style. When that quarterback he could tell, Coach Stefanski can tell him everything he want to tell him. Up to when he says, hike. Then that's when the magic happens. When you say hike, you can't control nothing. And in them 3 to 5 seconds, I control the world. I decide where the protection scheme goes. I decide if I'm going to look off for safety. I decide if I want to audible. I decide if I want to take a deep shot here. That's the scary part. When you're the franchise quarterback, they give you control over everything. And control is the scariest thing to lose in the world. one of my fears is being paralyzed, where I can't control where I go, when I go to the bathroom, who needs to help me. I'm fiercely independent. Gotta think about it. You are very rich, and you're one of 32 coaches, and you're one of 32 NFL GMs, and you're one of 32 most powerful people as an owner in the NFL. It's kind of scary to hand over your whole organization to somebody who feels like he's one of the best 32 at doing it too, right? Who knows who he is, who knows what he wants, who has a way of thinking about how he wants to go about doing things. Because now it comes to trust. Do you trust him in them 3 to 5 seconds? But I will say, it's the only way you're going to win. And it's been proven. So you got to let go. Let God. I thought that was pretty dope. Okay, Okoro traded Lonzo Ball. Welcome to Cleveland. Hold on. You lying? Hold on. We're gonna have to stop this. Hold on. Let me look and see if this is real. Is this real? Somebody hit me up. Is this real? Somebody have this? Let me look at Twitter. Where Twitter at? I don't see it. Oh, here it is. Wow, let's go ahead and break that news. Let me get this. Let me go ahead and let's go ahead and share my screen here. If you guys is hanging around here a little bit, hold on, let me share my screen. We appreciate you, Jeremy Long. Breaking news from Jeremy Long. Let me get this. Let me share my screen. Here we go. This is from Big Play. We'll get Ball is Life. ESPN Cleveland has this. Let's just take a look at this one. Lonzo Ball has been traded to the Cavs for Isaac Okoro per Shams Charania. By the way, if Shams say it, it is what it is. Let's go ahead and break this down. The Chicago Bulls are trading Lonzo Ball to the Cleveland Cavaliers. So the Cavs traded a good defender that can't score for a good defender that can score. I have no idea what I'm doing. Who else? Shout out to this is my college roommate, by the way. Chris Foreman says this is a weird trade for both sides, maybe more so for Cleveland. Okoro's is such a huge minus on offense that I understand why the Cavs would ship him out. But bringing back Lonzo Ball with his injury history is perplexing, to say the least. But listen, here's how I think about the trade off top. I look at the trade like this. Look, man, the trade is wild. I don't know if the trade is crazy, because I look at it as if Lonzo Ball can come back and play, it's a steal, because Isaac Okoro was such a minus. However, it is kind of perplexing a little bit. I wonder how this. I want to get into the weeds of this. I want to see how what does that put him in the second luxury tax. I want to see how the contract works. It's kind of weird. So yeah, shout out to Shams for that, and shout out to We Just Broke Some News, man. We just broke some news here. We got to do some research on that. We appreciate y'all as well. Before I get up out of here, let me get this. Before I get up out of here, a second, I'll throw this out here. Where we at? We'll just do this one. Man, I can't believe they didn't trade it. They didn't trade. That's wild, man. That's crazy. Switch this. All right, let's hit this up. Let's hit this up. All right, hold on. All right, we'll share this. Here we go. Let's see. All right. Shout out to man, that's wild, man. That is crazy. Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball is now a Cavs. That is crazy. All right, let me throw this up here. We'll get up out of here. We appreciate you guys sitting around for me. Let's go ahead and share this. All right, coming up, about a half hour. Make sure you check out Top 5 List. We got our first episode dropping today. It's a little snippet. We will be dropping it. It comes out at 12 o'clock. If you can, follow at Top 5 List right now. Shout out to 194 people. All we have is shorts right now, but our first full-length video is coming out today. Make sure you check that out. Top 5 List right now. You can check it at Top 5 List. We got some shorts that we've been playing. We just dropped a couple of these. This is a little snippet.
I think I see a tiger. And his name is Tony. Frosted Flakes is like for the athletic kid that's out there. You're like, oh, if you're going to eat some cereal, you better eat these Frosted Flakes. You always see Tony the Tiger around and people with little kids' baseball games. They're playing soccer in the commercial. It reached a lot of kids for movement and playing around. And by the way, it tastes great. It's amazing.
It holds up well in milk. It don't get soggy too quick.
Yeah.
Do you remember when the cereals used to be coming in the mail? And they had the small little boxes, and they would come in a side box like a
3 to 6 pack.
And they used to give you the staples, and then they give you, hey, we got this coming this fall. Man. Everything was predicated off the fall. Like you got new cereals, you got new cartoons on Saturday morning, you got new kids shows on TGIF. Back then, they had it laid out for you. So shout out to that. We got a joint coming up here. We got the top 5 today. We're going to do top 5 sitcoms. That part 1 is going to drop. So if you will, go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate you, man, as we always do. As we always say, you never know when G. Bush might show up radio, television, or internet. But if you want the fresh cut on sports or any other news content, you know where to come up. As always, have a great rest of your evening. And as I always say, go Browns.
Quality, service, atmosphere. You're next in the chair. Feel at home in the barbershop. G. Bush offers a fresh cut on sports. The barbershop isn't just grooming for guys. It's culture. It's lifestyle. It's sports. And it's now the barbershop is giving the sports scene a sheer shade and shine. Join the makeover now. Follow Garrett Bush at GBush91 on Twitter.